my brother-in-law came, and again it was from my right upper side, and came, and I just knew it was him just from his presence, just from his laughter and smile, and just his energetic being.
It was like coming home. At some point I realized there was a being on my right, and when I kind of tuned into that, and that's the only way I can say that is telepathically, when I tuned into it, I realized it was my grandfather who had died the year before.
Then I noticed in the center of this light is a very energetic movement, the movement being brown, and it's shifting and increasing in speed and size as it came towards me. And lo and behold, it developed into a perfect image of my deceased mother.
I sensed another greater being coming from a distance, and I could feel it getting closer and closer. And the other greater being came into our space. I don't know who it was. I don't think it was God. It might have been a spiritual guide of some sort. But that being brought with it even more love and acceptance. And just when you think you've got it all, here's more of it.
I was just there in the presence of God, and I was surrounded by light, and there was just brilliant light. And in some way I felt the existence of God, which is not easy to describe, because it wasn't as though I was seeing a being, but it was a knowing and an experiencing of the presence of God, almost to where it was tangible.
I could then hear love. I could hear energy. I could see love. And then I could, I felt as though I could probably touch the energy or touch the love. It just, everything was so enhanced.
And it was just up there. I mean, it was no judgment, no preconceived ideas of who I was or where my spirit was or what my essence was, and it was just like enveloped in all this love.
I felt a vacuuming of my head. It felt actually like my head was being vacuumed of all earth thoughts. Anything, any negativism that I ever had in my life, it was gone. There I am with an expanded brain, totally void of any earth thoughts.
I knew that there were no accidents, that I was very well watched over, that everything was planned. Even my being there at that time in my life was planned, that it was a special gift that I needed, that in the whole history of time there hasn't been an accident. Everything is happening the way it's meant to.
This presence of God communicated to me and called me by name, said, "Gloria, I can allow you to return to earth now, or I can allow you to give up your life. And which do you choose?" And I remember thinking, why is God asking me?
My mother then said, "It's probably time that I go back." My brother-in-law was there too, telling me, "It is time you go back." I said, "I don't really want to go back. Do I have to?" I'm somewhat frightened because there was an entity down there that frightened me, and I don't want to go back that way.
So I was with my grandfather, then the other being came, and we had some kind of telepathy thoughts going on very quickly. And I was into that, and I was into the peacefulness, and oh, this is wonderful. And then I realized that the conversation, so to speak, had come around to my coming back here. And it's like I startled, and I said, wait a minute, stop everything. You're not talking about me going back there. I don't want to go back.
When I returned back to my body, my first reaction was, wow, there's so much pain. It was just so much of a difference from being in a place where there's absolutely no pain, and to be returned, and really I slammed into my body and just felt incredible amount of pain. And that was probably the biggest part. And I was really angry about being back. I mean, here I was like rejected from heaven.
I woke up sprawled on the rocks below. I was prone and on my face. And I had, it took about maybe 20 seconds for me to realize that I was alive.
I was back in the air again in this dimension. And I only spun again maybe half a turn, and boom, I landed on my back on the road. And I was laying there on the road, and I remember feeling, I had a dress on, and I remember feeling something was very tight in my upper leg, groin area. And I put my hand up under my dress to loosen whatever it was. And instead of encountering my thigh, my hand kept going in. I said, there's no leg here. There's supposed to be a leg here. And it was very warm and soft. And when I took it out, my hand was bloody. And I said, oh, God, I got some kind of a cut of some sort. But again, the peacefulness was still with me.
And I tried to tell some nurses, and it just wasn't an accepted thing. And, you know, it was just like, you know, you're highly medicated and you're drugged out and you're having delusions.
The nurse, however, that I first explained it to did think it is as a result of the drugs they gave me. My doctor just kind of smiled and says, well, you're here, aren't you? You know, that was my cardiologist.
Immediately after the accident, I just started going along with my life as it was. I didn't really sense that anything that extraordinary had happened because I didn't remember much. I guess I was denying a lot of what I recalled later on. Maybe it was out of fear, maybe it was out of just not remembering. I don't know, but I felt it was a lot easier not to talk about it.
I spoke with many persons trying to identify this thing that some people kind of frown, some people laugh, others look on with a great deal of interest. So as many persons as would listen, I would tell them the story, or, you know, just a thumbnail sketch of what happened to me, waiting for their reactions or their verification. I was hoping they'd all say, oh yeah, you died and you went to heaven and you came back.
At one point, a Monsignor came to visit me. I was raised Catholic. My aunt was a rather important nun at the time, so I rated a visit from the Monsignor. And I was so pleased when he came in and all his outfits, and he looked very learned, and I said, he's going to know what I'm talking about. And I started telling him that I died and I went someplace. And he said, you almost died. Yep, you almost died, but an inch is as good as a mile. You didn't. And I said, no, but I did. I did die, and I went someplace. And you could really see almost fear in his eyes that, gee, she must have had some brain damage or something must have happened. That he was very uncomfortable, backed away, and then went to visit my roommate and wound up giving us his blessing and left.
It's important for healthcare professionals to know about NDEs because they do dramatically change people. And if your patient is having a near-death experience and is changing their attitudes, their beliefs, their sense of values, it's going to change how you need to treat them.
I mean, they really were kind to me in the hospital. But when I tried to tell them what had happened, how I had left my body and went beyond, and it was with this bright, brilliant light, and it was like, you know, you're getting shots of morphine every 2 to 3 hours, and you've been through a huge trauma right now. So what we need you to do is just save your energy and your breath and focus on getting better. And so I don't think it was that they didn't, well, I don't know. I mean, I never pursued it anymore. At that time, I just felt really rejected, so I didn't pursue it any further.
I felt it quite important that I share this with my wife. And my wife, being a very well-read person, has read many, many things about this. It's been happening since time. It's been mentioned in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It's in the Bible. It's all over. People have described this same particular action. However, her point to me was that that's a beautiful thing to have happened to you. However, you're here and you must get on with life. You know, the society you're in, you must go on doing the things that are necessary in life. You can't dwell on it.
Most of the people who wrote in were very eager to talk with us about their experiences. They had sometimes sat on these experiences for decades, wanting some answers to what is this all about? Am I crazy? Was it a dream? You know, was it